Hello everyone, welcome back. This side Chavi, your history teacher. And today we will start a new topic of history, that is chapter 9, Industrial Revolution. And in this, we will cover from page number 196 till 203 of your NCERT book. But before I start with the content, I request you all to like, share and subscribe this channel. Students, this chapter deals with industries and how this industrial revolution occurred. This industrial revolution was the most important development in the human history. But before that, before directly coming to that, what happened, why it happened, where it happened, you need to understand, you need to imagine the life in England before the industrial revolution. In early 18th century or before the advent of industries, most people make their living as farmers, because 80% of world's population was engaged in farming activity before this industrial revolution. As it is written lot many points over here, simple hand tools were used. Most people live in farming villages. People have never traveled beyond their village. The people work long hours that vary by season. Along with the family, children work on the farm. People make their own clothes and grow their own food, and power is provided by animals, watermills, and windmills. This entire scenario got changed with the introduction of industries. So, first thing we will learn that what is this industrial revolution? Industrial revolution was a period of major industrialization and innovation that took place during the late 1700 and early 1800. The Industrial Revolution began in Great Britain and quickly spread throughout the world. The term Industrial Revolution was used for the first time in English by the philosopher and economist Arnold Toynbee to describe the changes that occurred in British industrial development. Now the another question arises that why Britain was the first country to experience modern industrialization. So we can say several factors contributed for this, and Britain became first country to experience modern industrialization. It include that there was political stability since the 17th century. England, Wales and Scotland were under one monarchy. Second, money was being used as a medium of exchange. It means people received their wages and salaries in cash rather than in goods. Now people could spend their money in any way they liked. This led to the expansion of market for the sale of goods. Another is that there had been an economic change in the 18th century. It was agricultural revolution or enclosure movement. It means when big landlords had bought up small farms near their own properties and enclosed the village common land. This led to creation of very large estates and increase in food production. The landless farmers and other people who depended on the common lands went to nearby towns in search of jobs. Another factor was a good transport system. Students, before the spread of railways, the water transport had been cheaper and faster by land. And in England, rivers provided miles of navigable water. Most of the towns were near the rivers. So this helped in the movement of goods from the towns to the coastal ships. Good transport system was proved very useful in England. Apart from this, London acquired a global significance. It was the largest city in Britain and served as the hub of the country's market. It had become the center of global trade and acquired global significance. It also became principal source of loans for international trade with the establishment of the Bank of England in 1694, and served as a center of a triangular trade network that drew in England, Africa and the West Indies. All the factors which we had learned helped Britain a lot in setting up of industries over there. Now, after this, we will learn about the major transformation in the iron industry. Students, England was fortunate in coal and iron ore, the staple materials for mechanization, which were plentiful available, as were other minerals like lead, copper, and tin that were used in industry. However, until the 18th century, there was a scarcity of usable iron. But later, the solution for this problem had been sought out for years before it was solved by a family of iron masters, the Darbys of Shropshire. In the course of a half century, three generations of this family, grandfather, father, and son, all called Abraham Darby, brought about a revolution in the metallurgical industry. The first Abraham Darby made a great invention of blast furnace, while the second Darby developed wrought iron. And the third Derby built the first iron bridge in the world in Coalbrookdale, spanning the River Severn. Wilkinson used cast iron for the first time to make water pipes. Now, after the coal and iron industry, let's talk about textile industry and what is the role of cotton, spinning and weaving in it and how it got advanced. As we all know that India was a colony of Britishers and the East India Company had a political control on parts of India. So they import lot many things from India, and one of the important thing which they import was cotton cloth. But that laid a great cost for them. So later, along with cloth, they started importing raw cotton. And this raw cotton could be spun and woven into cloth in England. Till the early 18th century, spinning had been so slow and laborious that nearby around 10 spinners were required to supply sufficient yarn to keep a single weaver busy. And this basic problem led to the introduction or a series of technological inventions in the field of textile industry. Spinning raw cotton into yarn or thread and of weaving the yarn into fabric. To make it even more efficient, production gradually shifted from the homes of spinners and weavers to factories. And later, many machines contributed to the progress of the textile industry. It include flying shuttle loom, which was designed by John Kay in the year 1733, and it made it possible to weave broader fabrics in less time. The second one is James Hargreaves' spinning jenny, which was made in the year 1765 and enabled spinners to spin several threads of yarn simultaneously. Means earlier 10 spinners were required to provide a yarn or a thread to a weaver. Now it is a very easy work. The third one was Richard Arkwright water frame, which was invented in the year 1769 and produced a much stronger thread than before. It actually enabled the weavers to weave pure cotton fabrics rather than fabrics that combine linen and cotton yarn. The next invention was mule. Inventor was Samuel Crumpton. Invented this machine in 1779 and its impact was that it allowed the spinning of strong and fine yarn. The last one is the power loom designed by Edmund Cartwright in the year 1787. This helps in maintaining a balance between the task of spinning and weaving. This was easy to work, stopped automatically after every time a thread broke, and could be used to weave any kind of material. These above technological inventions successfully closed the gap between the speed in spinning raw cotton into yarn or thread and of weaving the yarn into fabric. It made the spinning and weaving more efficient than before. This is all for today. I hope you have understood whatever I have explained. For any query, you can write me over here in the comment section and we will discuss over there in online class. This is your home task. Please do these questions in your register and try to frame all the answer in points. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Have a nice day and stay safe at your place. Thank you.